If you're planning a trip to the USA and you're trying to get there in business class using frequent flyer points, either Qantas or Velocity frequent flyer points, chances are you are extremely frustrated. This is what the calendar availability looks like for business class reward seats on the Qantas website right now for Melbourne to Los Angeles. Very, very few red ribbons which indicate those classic reward flights. There are 3 red ribbons here for the entire calendar year up until late 2026. This is fairly typical. Right now on the Qantas and the Velocity website, there are very, very few business class reward seats to America departing from Australia. And in today's video, I'm going to run through some things that we can do to greatly increase our chances at flying business class to America using frequent flyer points. A few things that I'm going to discuss with you today is going to be how we can expand our route options and open up so we can capture some more reward seat availability by thinking outside the typical routes you're probably already searching. I'm then going to discuss how we can expand our flight options by incorporating different frequent flyer programs as well. So I mainly talk about using Qantas points. I'm also going to briefly touch on Velocity points and also another type of points that we should start using, which is going to help us get business class seats to America. And then finally, wrapping all this up, how we can search better instead of just relying on the Qantas website and directly doing our searches through there, how we can go about speeding that whole thing up and incorporating all of these new routes that we're going to discover, which is going to give us our best chance at finding these business class reward seats to America, so we can go from, at the moment, having no business class reward seats to hopefully getting a result and getting that 14-hour flight in business class. If all this sounds great, I would really appreciate a thumbs up on the video, and also if you left a comment letting me know it was helpful, or if you need help with anything. Now that that's out of the way, let's get straight into the video. So the very first thing that I want to discuss is that on the Qantas website and on the Velocity website right now, and this has been the case for the last couple of months, there are very, very few business class reward seats. I'm not sure what happened, but a few months previously, the availability in business class to the USA on both Qantas and the Velocity frequent flyer program has really tightened. The year before that, the availability was a lot better. But as it stands right now, we have very few options if we're looking for flights departing from Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney. And it doesn't matter if you're checking the Qantas website or the Velocity frequent flyer program, both of them have reduced availability to the USA in business class compared to previous years. So now that we understand that finding a business class reward seat is going to be a little bit trickier, what are some things that we can do? The very first thing that we can do is ensure that we are maximizing the routes that we are searching. So for this example, if we were located in Melbourne and we were just looking for Melbourne to Los Angeles, as I just showed you right there, there are very few business class reward seats available. Now we could just give up and stop our search there, but there are a few different things that we can tweak. The first thing is we can tweak our departing city. So instead of just Melbourne, we can look for the obvious ones, which are going to be Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney, as those are all major East Coast airports on the East Coast of Australia. So we can tweak the departing. The next thing we can do is tweak our arrival city. So Los Angeles is the most common one that we will arrive into, but we can also add in some other popular ones, which is going to be San Francisco, and we can also fly into Dallas as well. Now, if we exhaust all of those options, perhaps there are still no business class reward seats for the dates that we want. So what can we do after that? Instead, we can get a little bit more creative with our departing city, and instead of those major airports, we can niche down just a little bit. So maybe instead of Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney, we can look for other nearby cities that also fly to America, which would be Fiji. So I'm going to type in Fiji here. You can actually fly to America from Fiji with Fiji Airways as well. Or perhaps we start looking for flights out of Auckland as well, which is in New Zealand. Both of these cities, even though they're not located in Australia, are just a 3-hour flight away. And if you have Qantas points it's actually surprisingly easy to get to these destinations as well. And because the flight is so short, it's only about 3 hours in length, you don't need business class. You can usually snag a business class flight for these 3-hour flights, but to be honest, you really don't need it. Now, if you are located in one of those cities, it is a little bit of a pain having to fly to another city and then going onwards into America. But the alternative, say for example, if you couldn't find a business class flight directly from your city and you had to settle for 14 or 15 hours in economy, I would much rather fly that 3 hours to that nearby city if that's going to unlock 14 or 15 hours in a lie flat business class seat. The other alternative is paying about $10,000 for one of these tickets, which is really not ideal. So you can get extra creative with the departing city, and you can also get extra creative with the arrival city. So a couple things you can do. You can look for flights arriving into Vancouver as well. Qantas have flights from Sydney to Vancouver. Perhaps you're not searching for flights to Vancouver because that's not really in America. But same sort of thing as the first example. We want to arrive as close as possible to our target destination. If that means we have to catch another connecting short-haul flight in order to get there, but it's going to unlock a 14 or 15-hour business class flight, it's probably worth considering. And the other airport you can fly into is going to be Honolulu. Honolulu, for this particular route, just be careful for the flights from Sydney and Melbourne, as there are some Jetstar flights. Jetstar don't have lie-flat business class seats on their flights to Honolulu. There'd be nothing worse than booking a Jetstar business class flight to Honolulu, which is about 10 hours, expecting to have a lie-flat business class seat, and then you get there and it only just slightly reclines. I have just recently gone on the business class product on Jetstar, and it's not too bad. It's definitely nowhere near as good as having a lie-flat seat though. So those are some things that you can do, is just get extra creative with your departing and your arrival city. And in a second, I'm actually going to show you how you can incorporate all of these different searches, because right now we have so many different variables that we can tweak. If we're changing all of those departing cities and looking at arriving into all of those different arrival cities, doing all these different searches, so about 20 different unique searches, it's going to take a long time if we're just using the Qantas website. After this next point that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show you how you can do that super quick. That's going to be how we can optimize our searching. Now, before I talk about how we optimize our searching, I do want to briefly touch on expanding our frequent flyer programs, as that will link into the search thing that I'm going to talk about in a second. Now, when I talk about expanding our frequent flyer partners, I do bring this up in almost every single video that I make on this channel. In 2025, I don't think it's good enough to exclusively just have Qantas points. As you can see, Qantas can hold availability and they can make it very difficult for you to get to particular destinations. And if you just have Qantas points, you're trapped with Qantas points. You can't transfer them to different airlines that may have reward seat availability, which is why in 2025, I recommend that you earn some type of membership point. My personal favorite membership point in 2025 is having Amex Express Platinum membership points. I think Amex Platinum membership points are worth their weight in gold, and the main reason I say that is just because of how many different airline partners you can transfer these points to. The main airline partners that you will be able to transfer your points to when you have these Amex Express Platinum points are going to be the Qantas Frequent Flyer program, but also the Velocity Frequent Flyer program. You'll also have about 10 other different airlines as well. Now, to be honest, there's not really any key airline partners that they have that are going to help you transfer to. Like you won't be able to transfer your Amex Platinum membership points to any of these other different airline partners when we're specifically talking about the USA. But they do have a little loophole, which is Marriott Bonvoy. You see, with Marriott Bonvoy, they partner with, I think it's about 30 or 40 different airline programs. So hypothetically, if you had Amex Platinum membership points, you could transfer them to Marriott Bonvoy, and then from Marriott Bonvoy, you can transfer them to about 40 different airlines. Pretty much every single major airline loyalty program in the world, Marriott Bonvoy partner with, or you have access to with Amex Platinum membership points. But the key ones in particular, if you are trying to get to the USA, will be United Mileage Plus program. And they also have American Airline Loyalty program as well. Now, to be completely honest with you, the conversion ratio is not amazing. By the time you convert them from Amex Platinum membership points, convert them to Marriott Bonvoy points, and then convert them again to American Airlines or United Air Miles, you're really not getting amazing value. It will still be better than paying cash for them, but it will be a very difficult process. Number one, because you have to have a airline loyalty program account with United or American Airlines, and then you also have to ensure that they have business class reward seat availability as well. To be honest, it is a lot of mucking around, and I think if you just have Amex Platinum membership points and you have access to the Qantas and the Velocity frequent flyer programs, hopefully if you are looking far enough in advance, you give yourself plenty of time to try to find these reward seats, and you follow the searching tips that I'm about to give you, hopefully you should be able to snag a business class reward seat. So far we have got creative with our routes that we are looking for. So instead of just looking for one particular route, which is the city that we are in, to the city where we want to go, we can open up our different options to create about 15 to 20 different routes by changing the arrival and the departing cities. We can then also increase our chances by having access to multiple different frequent flyer programs. The best way that I know of doing that is by having the Amex Platinum membership points. You can then keep these points in the Amex Platinum portal and then transfer them to Qantas or Velocity, whichever one of these programs have the reward seat availability. And then from here, we want to be an absolute sniper at finding these reward seats when they do pop up on all of these different airline loyalty programs. And the way that I do that is with Gyoza Flights. Gyoza Flights I use every single day. It's my personal favorite search tool to help me find more business class reward seats. I actually use this tool every single day to help run my Patreon group, where in my Patreon group, I share with my members the best business class and first class reward seats that I come across with Qantas and Velocity points. Now, there are so many different routes on the Qantas and Velocity frequent flyer program, and it's very hard to keep up with monitoring which routes and destinations have the best business class availability at any given time. That's what I do. I scan through this data every single day. I update my members on the best availability so they can use those points and get those hard to find business class seats. I pay particular attention to destinations like USA, Europe, Japan, all of those destinations that Aussies love flying to. So if that is something you're interested in, check out the link in the video description for my Patreon group. Would love to see you in there. But anyway, assuming that you want to do this all yourself, use Gyoza Flights. It makes this whole search process super simple. From here, remember how we talked about how we have all these different routes we have to search. You can do that on the Qantas and the Velocity website directly, but if I use Gyoza Flights, you can see here, if I type in Australia, I can search all of these different airports all at once, and I can do the same thing for the USA as well. With Gyoza Flights, they actually have the US spread into 3 different sections. They have West Coast, East Coast, and Central USA. So when I do Australia to West Coast, I'm searching all of these different airports, and I can then filter through. So if I just had Qantas points or if I just had Velocity points, I can select the program that I have. If you've been following the advice on this channel, hopefully you'll have access to both of these frequent flyer programs. So I can leave that at the moment. And if you were traveling with a partner or family, you can get extra picky and choose how many seats you have. Gyoza Flights mention how many seats are available, which is fantastic because I know some other search tools like seats.aero don't have that for Qantas points. But pretty much if you do this, Gyoza Flights is going to spit out all of the reward flights available. It's going to tell you the departing date, the route as well, if it's a direct flight, how many seats are available and how many points it's going to cost you. And you can filter these things through as well. So say I wanted to filter it through by the date there, I can just click on the date and now it's going to show me the latest dates, and if I click on it again, it's going to show me the flights earliest to the current date. I would usually leave this at stops as 0, which is going to show me the direct flights first. Now you would just go about that and do all of those searches. So I did say before that you can get Fiji to West Coast United States, and you can see here just how many flights there are when we do this search. There's 2 pages of data which you wouldn't have picked up if you were on the Qantas website and you weren't actively searching for flights from Fiji. And you can do the same thing with Auckland as well. Auckland just had a big release for late December. They actually had flights that would get you to the United States for Christmas time, which were from Auckland arriving into, I think it was Los Angeles and San Francisco, I believe. Anyway, I think they're all gone for now. We can have a quick look. But that's why it's super important to just get creative with the routes that you're searching. That Auckland to West Coast United States, I did alert my Patreon members, I think it was a couple of weeks back, just because I thought it was a great find because it would get you into America for Christmas time. Unfortunately, they're all gone now, but if you do like those sort of alerts, join my Patreon group, link in the video description. So that is pretty much it for today's video. The first thing, expand your route options. Open up, get creative with the arriving and the departing cities like we talked about. Then try to have access to as many frequent flyer programs as possible. The more frequent flyer programs you have access to, the greater your chances are going to find business class reward seats. Then thirdly, use Gyoza Flights as your search tool. The great thing with Gyoza Flights as well is you can set up alerts on there as well if you are chasing a very specific route. For example, if you are just after a particular flight, you can set up an alert with Gyoza Flights, and when it does become available, you'll get a SMS or an email. And if you don't want to do all this searching yourself and you just want to get alerted for the routes that have business class availability, those very rare alerts when they do drop, then join my Patreon group. Link to that is in the video description. You can see here I'm posting every single day the best business class reward seats that are available. You can see I've posted some for Japan, USA, Canada, Europe just in time for Christmas. These sort of posts I do every single day. Would love to see you in there. Hope this video was helpful, and other than that, I will see you in the next one.